What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a game called Space. I had to put some time into this one. This is a complicated game that's based on, like, Newtonian physics and having, like, your thrusters in the right spot. It's got a lot in common with something like Delta V, Rings of Saturn, if you've ever seen that game before. A long time ago, I featured it, and it's a top-down kind of science-based space mining game. This game is very, very similar, but with 6 degrees of freedom. So effectively, this game takes place in the asteroid belt, and you are a human mining operation, and your goal is to mine as many minerals as possible and sell them to a central platform in order to be able to afford upgrades and things of that nature. And along the way, you're going to be harassed by aliens that fire giant laser booger balls at you. The aliens are deeply upset that you are inside of their asteroid belt trying to derive profit. They want nothing but poverty and sadness for mankind. Hamburger helper for everyone, say the Xenos. And so anyways, this is a very, very interesting game. I can't tell you that today is going to go super well. I wish that I could. This is a game that is like about heavy industrial custom machinery in space. It does not move the way that you want it to move, and so sometimes things don't go according to plan with this game when it comes to complex maneuvers, and you kind of got to do everything manually. Like, there's no autopilot or anything else inside the game, and so I put about 4 hours into it. I basically played the game all of last night because I really wanted to make a video on this game, and I wasn't quite sure if the demo was ready to be shown off yet. But I do think they've got a very, very appealing idea going for them right now, and so I think I am going to do a video. There's a strong possibility the game may crash on us as well, like midway through, and it doesn't save or anything else like that. If it does, I'll do my best to play back to where we were so that we can continue without, like, breaking the flow of the video, but sort of no promises. We may also hit some bugs along the way as well, because this is one of those games that's, like, very, very early on in its alpha. They're still, like, spitballing ideas. If you go through kind of, like, their page for the game and like the videos, it becomes apparent that over the last 3 or 4 years, this game has undergone like full structural redesigns like multiple times to get it into the state that it's in right now. And since there's not really a whole lot of videos on the game that are current, I figured I would be your guide for that. So if after watching this you wanted to check the demo out for yourself, it is freely available. They occasionally do kind of like alpha demos that are public that people can test out and sort of like post their various flaws or like feedback for the game. I don't know how long that's going to stay open, though, so you may want to capitalize on it quickly. Aside from that, you'll also find a link to my Twitch stream and my Discord, just in case you wanted to hang out live any given day of the week. But that's about enough talking for right now. Let's go ahead and jump on in. For the purposes of this demo, there's no hangar mode, there's no contact like campaign mode, there's a benchmark, there's a station editor, and there's a survive the void type deal. This is basically you play endlessly until the aliens kill your central station. That's pretty much it. The station editor, it puts you inside of what is effectively the Matrix, and it allows you to custom build your platform however you want. I do think it's a good idea. We will check out the station editor for just a second so that I can get you at least up to speed, because there's no pause in the survive the void mode, and it comes at you pretty fast. And I'm going to be doing a lot of operations very, very quickly without the time to sort of explain why or where I'm doing it. And so the station editor may allow me to get you guys appraised with just like the basics of Space before we dive on in. I'm not going to pretend like I'm the best at this game, but I have figured out some things that may help you when you decide to get on into the demo. So this is the station editor. This is a core Hulk node. A core Hulk node is basically the bare bottom foundational building block of your entire space station. And so this guy right here has 14 attachment points. It has, I think, 6 major points, and I think it has 8 minor points. And so the major points can be used for tier 2 operational structures like refineries and weapons and lasers and power plants and habs for the people that live inside of it, things of that nature. And then the tier 1s are for basically like smaller baby versions of that stuff. If you look up at the top of the screen, we've got a number of various things that we can interact with. We've got our energy levels, because you do have to have a positive energy balance in this game, otherwise you'll run out and you'll have to deactivate modules in order to get that to build back up so that you can use them again. We've also got our mining operation. This is effectively our cargo hold and how much we have inside of it. Right now we've got 100 capacity, we've got 10 iron, we've got 10 silica. I think that's cobalt right there. I can't see if that's an O or an A. And then we've also got like 10 TH, which is thorium. And so anyways, thorium is largely going to be used for power reactors, and then these 3 guys right here are going to be for building new parts on top of your shuttle. If you want to build, all you got to do is click on it, and then you pick the spot where you want to add something. So if we wanted to add like a big old gun to the top of this thing. There you go. We could add a big old gun to it. Inside the real gameplay, you actually have to wait for this to be constructed by various drones that are going to be flying around, but for the base building part, they just let you do everything for free, and you can activate and deactivate that if you want. Control of your pod, every single one of these little pods right here, these little Hulk nodes, they come with their own thrusters, so W is going to make you kind of go like forward. Oh, we're top heavy right now. Lame. Okay, let's rotate it back, and then we'll stabilize. Oh, stabilization is not working. It's taking longer than I wanted it to. Oh, well, such is life. Newtonian physics, why are you so complicated? We'll go ahead and straighten it on out real fast. There we go. We're, like, mostly straightened. Anyway, so your controls are W, A, S, and D, but depending on where the weight is allocated on the craft that you've built, it may roll a little bit when you do that. You're just going to have to learn to account for that. Like maintaining a weight balance on both sides, so like if we were to go now to the bottom, and let's say we strap another gun on there, so now we have 2 plasma cannons. It should kind of fly straight, I think. Yeah, now that we've evened out the weight, it's mostly going to fly straight when I hit the W key. You can roll it like so by holding down Shift and pressing Q and E. Q and E are going to make the pod go up and down, and then I think A and D are going to make it kind of go like right and left, and then if you Shift A and D, it's going to make you spin in that direction. It takes some getting used to, but I promise when you get to the heavier vehicles, it's not going to matter as much as what we've got right here. The most important key that you're going to want to know about is your B key. If you press the B key, that basically gives you the inertial dampeners. It will automatically try to equalize out any vector that you have going on. So if you have any centrifugal forces, or you have any actual like delta V that's happening in a direction, it will try to stabilize that down to a 0, but it does take it time, and that also, it's going to take longer or shorter based on the weight of what your rig is, which you can see down here at the bottom. We weigh 200 tons. We have 30 colonists on board. 6 of them have jobs right now, and 21 of them are freely available. If you put a gun in on here and we click on this gun, it's going to tell you how many colonists it takes to run that thing. Every single menu in the game can also be expanded out to get access to more advanced options for that little thing. It's not going to matter for most of the modules that you're going to install on your ship, but it is going to matter for things like refineries or for shops or for trade ports and things of that nature. And so that's effectively the bare basics of the game right there. From this menu right here, you can deactivate modules. That's going to be very, very important, and I'll tell you why. If you look up in the top left, you notice how there's a 10 there right now, and it was a 0 a second ago? That's because our craft generates heat. And heat is how the aliens find you, and it's going to augment and make their attacks nastier, basically. But were we to fly over here, we could mine from any of these various rocks if we wanted to. We would have to rotate the hull. Like, everything in this game is kind of on a gimbal. Kind of? Like, a little bit? Oh, we ran out of electricity. Yeah, that'd do it. That'd do it. How do we fix that? Well, you just got to come in here, and we'll put in like a solar panel right there. We'll stabilize our vector real fast. We'll put in another solar panel. Oh, we're still out of electricity. I can't use my stabilizers right now. We gotta wait for our battery to fill up. But anyways, that's how you would equalize that. Everything on the ship can be activated and deactivated from this panel over here on the left. The power grid, your mining gear, your weapons, your scanners, your transponder. You've got your shields if you've got a shield module. You've got your haulers and your drones and your builders. You can decide whether or not your haulers and your drones and your builders will work for other ships that are inside the range grid for this ship, because yes, you can have multiple ships in this game. You can also break them apart. So like, for example, if we had like 4 of these Hulk nodes attached to each other, we could break them all apart and make them into individual ships and rename them and like fly them around individually if you wanted to. Or you can say like, no, don't work on things that are on other craft, only focus on this craft. You've got your retro rockets right here. That's the guys that are on your B key right there that stabilize all your centrifugal forces, your rotational vectors, and your forward and backwards vectors. We've got, well, I guess your 6 degrees of vectors. Over here we have the overlay for the navs. This is a little bit more complicated, and I haven't figured out exactly how it works, but effectively the way I think it works is it allows you to decide what is forwards. That's the way that I have it rationalized in my head. So whatever direction that arrow is going, when you hold down the W key, I'm pretty sure that's the direction the ship is going to fly. I think that's how this whole thing works. And so if you wanted to set it up so that you had kind of a weird vector and you wanted to be like W going that way, you can do that. I haven't really been able to figure out the utility of such a thing, but you can do that. I assume it's for people that are much more big brain than I am. Like, I've watched the developers fly the ships in this game, and they fly their ships like they're like a 500cc like stunt motorcycle. Like, they do amazing things with their ships. I haven't gotten that good yet. Just flying straight after 4 hours is still kind of a challenge for me. So now that you're a little bit appraised on how everything works, let's play the game, shall we? We'll get into some gameplay proper. All right, so gameplay proper, survive the void. We're going to want to be really, really careful with this, because this demo kind of starts you out like begging for you to fail. The reason for that is you start out with 3 ships, and the 3 ships have like every single piece of their hardware running. You don't want that to be the case. So we're kind of going to go around at the beginning, and we're going to turn off all of our weapons. We're going to turn off all of our transponders. And the other thing we need to do is we need to go over to the shield rig, and we're going to deactivate this guy entirely, except for the power grid. And then what we need to do is we kind of need to rotate this guy, and we want to give him like a very, very, very basic vector. We're going to allow him to rotate for a minute, and once we get him straightened out with the central platform over here, we're basically just going to give him a little bit of juice, and he's going to slowly float back towards this platform while we're playing the game. But as you can see, there's aliens all over the place out there. Those are their motherships, and they are already launching things at us. You can see them putting out little probes and whatnot to mess with us. And so we kind of want to deactivate as many things on all these ships as we possibly can. I'm going to deactivate pretty much everything over here. And I'm going to deactivate pretty much everything over here as well to get our heat down so that we don't attract their attention while I'm trying to get this thing rotated and into play. So we'll kind of get this guy turned around. There we go. Looks good to me. We need to give it a little bit of like a nose-up rotation as well. I'm going to stabilize because we've got ourselves almost facing the way that I want to face. Our heat is a little high, though, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Keep rotating. All right, so we're all nice and stabilized now. Let's go ahead and take this guy, and we're going to rotate him upwards. This is taking our heat up, though, so we got to be careful about it. And over time, the Newtonian physics should allow him to face this right here, and then we're just going to give him a little tippity-tap and have him float forwards, basically, to regroup with the main flotilla over here. And it looks like we are about on with the vector that we want. So let's go ahead and stabilize. Once the stabilization thrusters and the retros are good to go. Okay, retros are good to go. We're going to give this guy just a little push forwards. We don't want him to be going too fast, but we're going to use these other little asteroids to kind of judge how fast we're going. Because as far as I know, we don't have any kind of like speedometer or anything. And I think that should be enough. All right, so we're going to let him float for a little bit. This is one of our T1 Hulk nodes over here. What we want to do with him is if you take a look, he's got no bonus energy for right now. We need to fix that. This guy needs to have energy. So we're going to go ahead on the backside, and we're going to go ahead and install a large solar panel right here to give him 10 more megawatts to play around with. The other thing we need to do is we need to get this guy into position, and we actually need to turn on all of our grid, all of our weapons. We're not going to turn on scanners, but we do want the haulers and the builders, because this, if you notice, there's little doors on here. We have little drone hives that are installed on this by default, and they will haul ore, and they will also build things. We also need to take this guy right here and turn him back on. So we'll go ahead and get pretty much everything up and running on this side as well. That is going to raise up our heat. We are going to come under attack from having that heat up before too long, but that's sort of like life. The other thing that we want to do is we want to get this guy mining just to help out with extra resources. And so we're going to move this guy sort of towards this rock over here. And we're just going to float in very, very slowly. We're going to rotate a little bit so that the mining laser can auto-grab that right there. And as you can see, the mining laser is now mining that asteroid. So we're going to stabilize. Don't overdo it. There we go. A little bit more rotation in there. And this is a game about just kind of easing it in. This is not a game where you want to fat finger the key super hard. Because once you set your ships off like in a spin, It's going to be kind of bad. It's not good. You don't want your ships off in a spin. The other thing we want to do is I'm going to actually get rid of that intel module right there. It generates too much heat, and I don't like it. It puts a bunch of radio waves out. One thing you are going to have to do, the game does have a bug where if you sell anything, you're not going to be able to interact with the ship that you sold something on until you select another ship and come back. So if you see me selling and moving stuff around and then I click other members of the fleet and then click back very, very rapidly, that's what I'm doing, is I think I'm resetting that bug. Because after I sell anything, I usually can't interact with my ship in any way. What we need to do now is we need to get this guy into position as well, because this guy comes equipped with a bunch of goodies. So the entire bottom side of this ship right here is entirely mining equipment, and then the top half is almost entirely weapons. And so we're going to want to do something about that. Now, this guy's got a whole bunch of silica, but we're going to need more because I want to install a rocket launcher on this rig. I'm a big fan of rocket launchers in this game because every single weapon in this game is on a gimbal, and it's got kind of like a cone-like field of fire of where it can reach and what it can shoot at. And because those things are not designated in this alpha, it's very difficult to figure out what your line of sight is and what your direct to target is on like anything that you're going to be fighting with. And missile launchers, they negate that problem entirely. Now, missile launchers, to equalize that out, missile launchers are very, very, very expensive. They are super expensive. I'm going to go ahead and kind of push this guy upwards. Like so. I've got the game in slow mode right now, in case you were wondering. You can do that with the P key in case you wanted to plan things out. And we'll get this guy kind of like rotating. We're going to get him kind of moving. It may look loose, like these actually have flexure to them. Like you'll notice that they kind of like wiggle around while you're moving. Don't worry, they're not going to detach or break or anything else like that. I know it's scary, but you don't have to worry about it. And then we're going to rotate this guy like so. Just so we can mine off of this silica rock over here. Silica rock. Okay, we're going to stabilize if we can. All right, it looks like we're mining. Well, we were for a second. It looked like we were mining momentarily. We are going to have to bring this guy down, though, I think. There we go. We're kind of getting into position right now. I just need to float a little bit further forward, and I think we'll be all right. There we go. We've got a couple of mining lasers that are now on point. And as you can see, we're knocking rocks loose from this silica chunk right here, which is good for us. That's exactly what we want. And I think we're about in the position that pleases me. You can retarget these by clicking on them and telling them to go after iron or something instead. I'm telling them all to go after silica because that's what we're low on. I'm waiting to see if we can get a few more things in range too, but let's go ahead and stabilize. I don't hear any gunfire yet, so I don't think the aliens have arrived just yet. I'd like to rotate a little bit further. There we go. Now we've got this guy in the perfect spot. And as you can see, the lasers are going to work. Perfect. We're going to stabilize this guy. I want to make sure we have no float. We have no drift. Where's my shield rig at? Shield rig is still floating along. Still doing his thing. Basically, this game is all about positioning. So because you can't move things around quickly in this game, it's all about being in the right spot prior to something going wrong. Now, I know that most enemy attacks, from my experience, are going to be coming from that giant monolithic terror thing in the background and the little ships that are surrounding it. And in fact, it looks like we have attackers on their way in already, just due to the amount of heat that we've been generating by moving this big rig around, unfortunately. We will deactivate some of the mining rigs and things like that as it becomes necessary, but for right now, I think we're in okay shape. And realistically, what I would like for them to do is in this top slot right here where we got rid of that platform, start building a missile launcher. And then down here, we will also build a missile launcher. If we can get both of those missile launchers up and running before the enemy gets too entrenched and gets too crazy with their tactics, we should be all right. However, things go kind of random in this game. It can be problematic, so like no guarantees. Let's go ahead and see if we can float the shield rig in with some level of precision. It does look like it's still moving, but it looks like maybe it lost a little bit of its oomph. And so I'm going to try to let it get its oomph back. If you're looking at this guy over here, you may notice that this asteroid has different colorations on it. What that means is if you're shooting inside the green area, you will get the element that is marked on top of the asteroid. If you're shooting at any of the blue area on scanners, you will only get silica, by the way. That's like the important thing to know as well. Where is the front on this thing? That was the bottom, right? Oh, no, that was not the bottom. Okay. Fair enough. We'll go ahead and move this guy like so, I guess. I'd like to be lasering a different spot if I could. We go. We're going to stabilize a little bit. Perfecto. I'd like to kind of dip this down as well, if I could. There we go. Now I think we're doing all right. We are, however, losing a lot of electricity from this maneuver right here that we just did. Oop, going the wrong way. Hold on. You're overspinning. Don't overspin there, brother. Stabilize. Stabilize for me. There we go. All right. We should start to see this stuff get built over here. There's our first alien contact right there. They are shooting the central platform. The platform's HP is over here on the top right. When it gets down to 0, you lose the game. My highest score that I've put up so far is somewhere in the realm of like 1,500. So let me know if you beat my score. If he goes any higher, this machine gun right here should get him. Machine gun? There it goes. Perfect. Oh, we got another one over there, too? Oh, weak, dude. Okay, and it is shooting at me. That's not great. Where are all my guns at? We're going to have to do something a little bit drastic here. I need to get him into the firing line, unfortunately. So we're going to rotate, even though it's going to mess up our mining, because I need the machine gun to fire at this guy. Perfect. All right. Let's rotate her back. Oh, we've got more enemies over there, too. Okay, well, discharge your weapon, I guess. Perfect. All right, we got to get our heat down. Our heat is like way, way, way too high right now. I'm going to turn off the mining grid. That should help out with our heat a little bit because we've got a lot of rocks floating around out here. As you can see, our rocket launcher is about half built on top. Was that my shield rig? Oh, no, dude, I forgot about the shield rig because we were under attack and the shield rig crashed into the main ship. All right, well, that's gonna kind of negatively affect the operation. I totally forgot about it because we were kind of like in the heat of the moment. It's fine. It kind of sucks. Like, I would have rather not lost the shield rig. The shield rig is highly weaponized, and I was going to park it in front of the frigate over here. So that it could basically just have cannons on top and cannons on bottom and, like, area denial the enemy. But, you know, that's life. We're going to let them gather up their stuff over here. It looks like with this top rig, close you down real fast. Oh, we still have a slight rotation going on over here. Go ahead and stabilize for me. There we go. Now that we're all nice and stabilized, the good news is our heat is way down now, so we don't have to worry about getting bushwhacked quite as badly. But with this guy right here, they are delivering stuff for the rocket launcher. We don't have the cobalt installed yet, but we do have cobalt already on this rig, so we should be all right. That means that this poor little bastard over here, I think, is going to be relegated to defensive duty. I don't want to, but I think that's the way that it's going to go. Did you get swapped off? Okay, so you're good on range. In fact, the solar panel is not really getting built right now. We do have enough stuff on us to do the solar panel. So it may actually be worth it to do something different over here. Instead, let's go ahead and we'll put in the little panels. I don't think the little panels require cobalt. Yeah. So we'll put in a little panel right there, and we'll put in a little panel right there. The additive benefit of this is that it'll actually even out our weight allotment so that our ship will actually fly straight, which is really, really, really cool. That's great. Having ships that fly straight are fantastic. So we're mining a little bit. We're getting it done over here. We're working on iron on that side. We're working on iron on that side. I don't understand how he's scanning this right here. His scanners are turned off. So, like, I'm not super understanding why it's scanned out. Like, I turned off the scanner. And, in fact, I'm going to destroy the scanner, too, because I don't think that we need it. The other thing that we're going to do is after we get done with the other constructions on this side, they've actually got all the materials delivered already to this little panel down here, and they've almost got all of the other stuff attached to it too. Basically, it's got to flow energy in, so it's going to cost us like 200 energy from the central battery in order to build this guy up. And so as you can see, it's slowly transferring energy over, but all the parts are here. So as soon as that green meter fills up, we should have a fresh new solar panel on this side. All of these solar panels, they are articulated. If I was to click this little pause button right here, it would deactivate that module, and this little guy would fold up into like a little glass sandwich and slide back flush with the hull. Like everything is actually animated like that, which is pretty cool. Everything's animated and modular. We shouldn't have to worry about enemies for the next little bit, because our heat rating is really low on both of our ships. You don't seem to get attacked unless your heat rating is... Well, never mind, I take it back. There's one coming right there. But anyways, you don't seem to get attacked quite as much when your heat rating stays below like 60 or 70 or so. That's as far as I've been able to isolate anyways. I think... I'm going to let the mining equipment chill for a minute because I want these rocket launchers to be built before we spark off any more beef with the aliens. Because with 2 rocket launcher rigs, we should be able to just bury this guy instantly if we get attacked. Oh, never mind. They're coming after me right now. Okay. Looking at the machine gun. I don't think he's going to have an angle. The other machine guns right there, those are really bad spots for machine guns. That hab right there is just causing problems. If that hab wasn't there, we'd have such a larger angle of fire. That hab's in a really, really inopportune spot that I'm just not in love with. Luckily, it looks like maybe we can get some shots off here. I think we can definitely get shots off if he flies higher like that, so that's good. I'm being lazy right now, and I don't want to move the mining ship around. So I'm hoping he just sort of accidentally drifts into our kill zone. And if he does, then that's okay by me. Good news, the rocket launcher's done. So the rocket launcher should start firing momentarily. And the rocket launcher doesn't really have to play by the rules. It can kind of sort of just fire wherever the hell it wants to because the missiles are heat-seeking, so like who cares? So it will discharge its payload at some point. I think it's charging up right now. There we go. And there goes our missiles. And as you can see, this is an absolutely stunning game to look at. Like, as far as the game goes, like, it is definitely making use of Unreal Engine. Like, you can tell that it's making use of Unreal Engine. It's a really, really, really pretty game with all the particle effects. You saw the explosion when I accidentally crashed my own friendly vehicle into the side of that building over there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is a beautiful, beautiful game to look at when it comes to the combat and eliminating enemies and whatnot. I'm really interested to see what kind of structure they can imbue on into the game in order to make it rock pretty hard. Like in previous alpha demos, they actually gave you like snippets of the campaign or whatnot. This time around, I'm not exactly sure what their modus operandi is or what they're trying to accomplish, but they only really put in the... Oh, we've already liquefied another alien over there. Good. That's what aliens deserve. They deserve to be liquids. Allow them to be a fluid. That is what they wanted. That guy looked like he was on an attack vector that was coming for us, but I don't think he was. Either way, if we can get this second rocket launcher up and running right here, I think we'll just be in a magnificent position. Part of me is tempted to break off this module right here and float away and use it as a platform, basically. Are all of my solar panels done over here? It does look like my solar panels are done. So that's good. He now has a positive energy balance, which means he can mine around the clock without worrying about it. I don't really want him to mine around the clock, though. What would it take me to get another Hulk? It does take cobalt to get another Hulk, and it's going to take a lot of silica as well to get another Hulk. But I want to rebuild another ship from scratch, and I want to use him basically as a defense turret over here. Like, I'd fly him over, and I'd give him nothing but solar panels and 2 plasma cannons and, like, a bunch of machine guns, and he would just, like, sit over here and basically spray bullets in every direction to punish the enemy. If we turn our transponder on, We'll be able to trade with the main station over here. I don't know if trading with the main station actually accomplishes anything at the moment. We can hail them as well, I think, if I turn the transponder back on. Yeah, you can hail them, and it opens up this menu, but there's not really a whole lot inside of it right now, except for, like, a log of the things that you've accomplished along the way. But anyways, you know what's funny is, like, at the beginning of this video, I knew I was going to crash the shield module into the side of that because I've done it before. Like, I get focused on, like, doing certain things, and I forget that I set it on a vector, and then it crashes into my station. You would not believe how many times I've done that without learning my lesson. One thing I think one thing that would be nice is if they had an activatable, because, like, navigating is so difficult in this game, it would be really, really nice if they had, like, when you go into the nav mode over here, I would prefer that the nav mode actually, you'd be able to just click and drag this to where you want on, like, an X and a Y and a Z axis, and it would use the retros to automatically maneuver its way over there, albeit slower than if you did it manually. Give it a little bit of an RTS element. I think that would just be a fantastic feature to add. That way I could click on this guy right here, go into his nav mode, tell him where I want him to redeploy, and then I could go fiddle with this guy, like, while he's mining and whatnot. I just feel like that would just be a fantastic feature. Just really great stuff. Now, we'll turn off your transponder for right now. Why are you not mining at the moment? Did you mine away all the rock right there? So that's going to be back right there. Okay. So I want to go get this cobalt up here, but I've got to maneuver my way in and do it. So I'm going to give this some forward thrust. We'll give him some side thrust over here too. I'm going to need to rotate a little bit. There we go. Give him a little bit of spin so that we're facing forward. We're going to even that out. We're going to retro real fast. Okay, now that we're retroed, we're going to go forward. Almost got the spin that I want to get up on that cobalt. Looks like we're still fighting with aliens over on that platform right there. But this is a really fascinating game. Like, I wasn't super sure that the game was ready for, like, prime time and showing it off on the channel. But, like, it's such a compelling, interesting idea because I love, like, the heavy industrial-grade games like this. I don't know why it's not canceling my spin right now. It's, like, not even trying. Is that the... Okay, so we're going to need to... Let's cancel that spin right there. And there goes my solar panel. I think this would be the time that you want to use the nav overlay. So I'm going to swap this out so that our W takes me where I want to go. This may work out horribly, and I may get super, super disoriented, but... really all that we're designating here is, like, relatively what is the front side of the ship. And frankly, that seems to have solved the issue very, very nicely. Go ahead and give a little bit of forward thrust. We'll go ahead and retro real fast. I do like that feature and, like, the ability to reorient the ship entirely, like, on the fly. That's really, really nice. I need to rotate this so that I can get that cobalt right there. Come on, give it a little bit, like, just a little bit of that right there. And I think we're magic. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. But, like, just getting to the rocks in this game is kind of, like, the part of the game that's difficult. Like, and that's what I like about the game, is even simple things like transit in this game are difficult, and it's easy to forget that, like, a minute ago you told, you know, your shield rig to fly in this direction, and then you just forgot to hit the dampeners on him, you know what I mean? And then he crashes on into there. Like, that's life in this game, and I like that about it. I find that to be very, very fun. Did we ever get that second launcher done down here? No, would be the answer to that question. And it looks like my rig over here has actually run out of electricity as well. Very, very concerning. However, we are nuking the aliens before they even get here. And so with our positional advantage right now, we are down a ship, but I can build another one. It's no biggie. It's not that complicated of an issue. I could build another ship. With how we're set up right now, I think I'd probably actually beat my high score. I got 1,500 last night, and I survived for like an hour and a half before my central rig got blown up. But there are other modules, so I'll show you some of the other options because we're getting kind of long in the tooth here towards the end of the video. But I will show you the other modules and talk about what they do and like what other things are available. So in T2 modules, we have a Hulk node, we have a storage that allows you to hold more stuff inside your mining hold. We have a habitat that allows you to hold more colonists. We have a hangar that allows you to deploy fighters that will sortie with the enemy. I don't know if it works. I put one on my rig to test it out because I'm a big fan of carrier ships, and it didn't seem to deploy anything, even though it was on the ship for like 20 minutes, but maybe I did something wrong. Learning simple things in this game can actually take a long time. There's thrusters. The thrusters, they activate independently. You actually have to click on the thruster and light it off, and it will add basically motion in that direction to do like crazy maneuvers and stuff like that. There's a trade ship port that allows trade ships to dock. We also have another, like a larger dock right here, so even more of them can dock simultaneously. These will allow you to transfer between your two craft, like various resources and whatnot, if your transponders are on. We've also got weapons. There's a plasma cannon. There's a missile launcher. There's a shield node, as you can see right there. We've got ourselves an Intel HQ. This basically auto scans things that are in the area so that you can see their HP values and like what's inside different asteroids and whatnot. Mining lasers, big ones. A refinery. That's where we're going to be deploying our haulers. And I didn't want to do that, but anyways, I can show you what a refinery looks like here. If I go over to this craft, there's a refinery right there. And if you fold it out, you can see you can customize and build as many haulers and builders as you want. And so I'd say even though this alpha's rough and it's a little bit crashy and it's a little bit buggy, I will say this is a very, very appealing idea that is barking up a lot of right trees for me personally as a player. And so anyways, I wish the best for the developers. I hope they get it all settled and figured out. I hope the campaign ends up being like super fun, and I'm looking forward to playing it. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we had Ill Space. Tomorrow we will have something else. I appreciate you sharing the luxury of your time with me, and I will catch you all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Goodbye, folks.